Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Divya Singhi's Social Lab. So class 10 students, we are going to start very interesting topic today and the name of the topic is agriculture. Okay, so let's start. I'm sharing my screen with all of you now. I hope my screen is visible to all my students. So let's start. So as I just now told, we are going to start with the chapter agriculture. So student, now, what do you mean by agriculture? Students, agriculture is first of all primary activity. Okay, agriculture is a primary activity which produces most of the food we consume, and it also serves as the backbone of the Indian economy. Okay, so always remember student, agriculture is the primary activity which produces most of the food we consume, and it is also the backbone of the Indian economy. If I speak about the workforce, two-thirds of the Indian population is engaged in agricultural activities. Okay. And students, if I speak about agriculture, it is the major source of raw material. Like if we speak about sugar, what is the raw material of sugar? Sugar cane. So sugar cane comes from agriculture sector. Okay. So agriculture sector is the major source of raw material. Even nowadays, student, India is exporting so many things, so many food crops to other countries like tea, coffee, spices are exported and earn foreign exchange. So when we export something, our country will earn foreign exchange. So many agricultural products are going outside India as well as a part of export. Okay, I hope I'm clear in this slide. Let's go to the next slide. Now, students, there are different types of farming. First is primitive subsistence farming. You know, students, in the primitive subsistence farming, all the primitive old tools are used. Okay, and there is one category in primitive subsistence farming that is called slash and burn. Slash and burn is also known as shifting agriculture, students. Students, I'll tell you what do you mean by slash and burn. In this kind of agriculture, the farmer will first slash the trees, means cut the trees, then he or she will burn the trees, and then they will do agriculture. So that is why it is called slash and burn. Slashing the tree, burning the tree, and then doing agriculture there. So that is also known as slash and burn, and it is also known as shifting agriculture. Okay. So I hope it is clear. So students, shifting agriculture is known by different names as well, like Juming, Podo, Kumari, etc. Okay, so always remember in primitive subsistence farming, there is one category known as shifting agriculture, which is also known as slash and burn agriculture. And what is slash and burn agriculture? That is slashing the tree, burning the tree, and then doing agriculture on that particular patch. After some time, farmer will shift to another patch of land. That is why it is called shifting agriculture. And there is another name for this slash and burn method, or you can tell shifting agriculture. The another name is Juming, Podu, Kumari, etc. Now the next category of farming is intensive subsistence farming. Student, this is mostly labor intensive farming. Many laborers are engaged. And students, even if the land is small, a lot of pressure is put on the land. Okay, and multiple crops can be grown on that small patch of land. Okay, so that is intensive subsistence agriculture. And if I compare intensive subsistence agriculture with commercial farming, in commercial farming, students, all the fertilizers, pesticides, HYV seeds, HYV means high yielding variety seeds are used. And students, in the commercial farming, one crop is grown on large piece of land like tea, coffee, rubber, sugarcane. Like in intensive subsistence, what we were doing? Small patch of land only we are growing multiple crops. But in commercial farming, one crop is grown on large patch of land. Okay? And the example of commercial farming are tea, coffee, rubber, etc. I hope I'm clear, students. Let's move to the next slide. Different cropping seasons of India. Okay, so the first is Rabi season, students, where the seed, you can see here properly, where the seed is sown in the month of October to December, and the crop is harvested in April or April to June. The major Rabi crops are wheat, barley, peas, gram, and mustard. Okay. And students, if I speak about Rabi crops, okay, the Green Revolution has boosted output in Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP. Okay. So that is what you should know. Kharif crop is basically harvested in the month of September and October, and it is also known as monsoon crop. The major example of Kharif crop are paddy, maize, jawar, bajra, cotton, jute, groundnut, and soybean. And mostly Kharif crops are grown in Assam, West Bengal, Odisha. Okay. Now, students, if I speak about the Zaid cropping season, mostly the crop is grown like Zaid cropping season will come between Rabi and Kharif. Okay, it is called summer season basically. Okay, most crops grown that time are watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetable, and fodder crops. Okay, even sugarcane is also Zaid crop, but it takes one full year to grow. Okay, so students, you should know this. Basically, students, Rabi is a winter season crop, Kharif is a monsoon season cropping season, and Zaid is a summer season cropping. Okay, it's a summer cropping season. Okay. Now, students, we are going to discuss in detail about each crop. Okay, so the first comes rice. Student, rice is a kharif crop, and rice requires temperature above 25 degrees Celsius and rainfall around 100 centimeters. The main areas where rice is grown is Assam, West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. And India is the second largest producer of rice in the world after China. Okay, so this is all about rice. Now the next is wheat. Student, wheat is a rabi crop. Okay, and it requires rainfall around 50 to 75 centimeter. And the major areas where wheat is grown is Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and Rajasthan. And mostly the Ganga Satluj plains and Deccan black soil regions we can find wheat. Now millets. Students, first of all, you should know which are the three millets. Jawar, Bajra, and Ragi. They are the major millets. Okay, and they are kharif crop. And they mostly require dry kind of season. Okay, and mostly the millets. If I speak about Jawar as a millet, it is grown mostly in Maharashtra, okay, and Karnataka. Bajra is mostly grown in Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, and Ragi is mostly grown in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And students, millets have high nutritional value. Okay. Now, next category is maize. Maize is a kharif crop and it requires temperature around 21 to 27 degrees Celsius. And maize is mostly grown in the alluvial soil. And the state where maize is grown is Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Maize can be used, students, as a food also and fodder also. Now, next category of crops. Tea. Tea is a beverage crop. Students, you must know tea is a beverage crop. Okay, and it is also a plantation crop and mostly labor intensive and it requires very much fertile soil. So, mostly we can tell here laterite soil. Laterite soil is required for tea. And the places where the states where tea is mostly grown is Assam, West Bengal. In West Bengal, especially Darjeeling, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. India is the second largest producer of tea after China. Now again, coffee. Coffee is also beverage crop, students. Okay. Now students, if I speak about coffee, again we need laterite soil only for the coffee. And coffee is grown mostly in states like Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Okay. It is known for its world-class quality. Now, students, next category is sugarcane. It is a tropical subtropical crop. As I told, it will take around one full year for the sugarcane to grow. And it requires temperature around 21 to 27 degrees Celsius and rainfall around 75 to 100 centimeters. The state where sugarcane is grown is Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Again, India is the second largest producer of sugarcane after Brazil. Now, students, oil seeds. Oil seeds includes groundnut, mustard, coconut, soya bean. And Gujarat is the largest producer of groundnut. Students, oil seeds are basically used for cooking, soap, cosmetics, etc. Okay. Now, pulses. India is one of the largest producer and even consumer of pulses. Like all the dal will be there, na student. Like tur dal, urad, moong, masoor. They are all part of pulses. Okay. So students, it can restore soil fertility. Pulse is a crop which can restore soil fertility. Now, the next category of crop is rubber. It is also one of the equatorial tropical crop. It requires rainfall more than 200 centimeter and temperature above 25 degrees Celsius. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, they are the major states which produce rubber. Okay, and it is one of the key raw material. Students, you know, in cars we use cars and bikes we use tires, so we need rubber for that. Okay, so rubber is one of the important raw material. I hope I'm clear till now. No doubt. Let's go to the next slide. Cotton. Student, India believed to be the original home of cotton plant. India is the second largest producer of cotton after China. And students, cotton is the raw material. Raw cotton basically is the raw material for the cotton textile industries. Students, always remember cotton requires very high temperature. And the main soil which is required for the growth of cotton is black soil. Okay, and the major states where cotton is grown is Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. But mostly you should remember the major share is of cotton is in Maharashtra and Gujarat. I hope I'm clear with the cotton. The next category is jute. Students, jute is also known as the golden fiber. Okay, students, the question can be asked in this form. Which crop is known as golden fiber? Jute is known as golden fiber. Okay, and students, if I speak about jute, it also requires very high temperature. Okay, and student, the major states where jute is grown is West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha. Student, jute can be utilized for making gunny bags, mats, ropes, carpets, etc. Okay, and also known for sericulture. Sericulture means silk from fed on mulberry. So, student, this is all about jute. I hope I'm clear about all the crops. Now, students, if I feel, now we are going to understand in detail about some technological and institutional reforms for agriculture. If I speak about post-independence students, before independence, there was a system known as Zamindari system, where the Zamindar used to exploit the farmers by asking from them high tax. Okay, so students, after independence, the Zamindari system was abolished. Okay, so that was one of the reform taken during that time. Nowadays, students, government has started one facility known as crop insurance. Suppose you are growing crop and it got destroyed due to flood, cyclone, fire. So there is also there is always a facility of crop insurance. The farmer will not face that much loss. Now, student, nowadays the government is also providing financial support to the farmers by the source of Grameen Bank, cooperative society, Kisan credit card, and also personal accident insurance scheme for farmers. Now, students, nowadays information is also given by weather bulletins and agriculture program on radio and TV. And the government even announces the minimum support price to protect the farmers from the middlemen. Students, during the 1960s and 70s in India, Green Revolution was introduced. What was Green Revolution? In the Green Revolution, the high yielding variety seeds and fertilizers and irrigation facilities were used. So if I speak about Green Revolution students, it was introduced basically in three states, Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. And the production of rice and wheat increased during the Green Revolution. Now here one movement was started by Vinoba Bhave. It was Gramdan movement. So Bhudan means, any idea? Like giving land, and Gramdan mean giving village as a donation. So student, that time when Vinoba Bhave started this bloodless revolution, many land owners, they voluntarily donated land to the landless And even some of the owners, they distributed thousands of acres of land basically across India. Means here in this movement, student, many landowners, they distributed land to the poor farmers. Okay. And even some of the owners, they distributed villages as well. Okay. So that was the Bhudan and Gramdan movement. Bhudan means Bhumidan, means the dan of land. Okay. And Gramdan means when we do like the dan of villages. So I hope I'm clear, student, till here. No doubt. So students, this was your chapter agriculture. Okay. So students, I would like to thank all of you. Okay. And students, a humble request, if you are liking my videos, please subscribe my channel so that you'll get immediate notification when I put any video. Okay. So students, thank you all. And I want to tell you, please stay healthy and stay connected with me. And don't forget to subscribe my channel, Divya Singhi Social Lab. Thank you all.